Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Quest Podcast, the show where we break down classic hip-hop albums track by track, giving our thoughts and opinions. My name is HSR Holden Stefan Roy.
I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
And today, by request, we are discussing Showbiz A.G's album, Runaway Slave. On that note, we're going to do the intro, babe. So if you are not down for the intro, babe, what you can do is check the description of this video and see when we start talking about stuff. On that note, we like to start off every episode now letting y'all know we are not the biggest professionals in the world in the sense of being hip-hop scholars. We are folk who just started to review albums one day and then week over week over week just kept doing it and started
year
doing more
over
and more.
year. Here
That's
we are.
True. This is our third year at this shit, but we have clocked a lot of reviews. This is actually the 101st episode in this very series. We forgot to even mention episode 100 last time, so this is kind of our episode 100 plus one, like those Dalmatians.
Yep.
Very good Disney movie.
And I do have to say that I feel, for those who have been with us, you know, for the long haul, who have been with us for since the beginning almost, I think that we've gotten better. I think that, we overall, I think that we make a little bit more sense.
Allow me to make it clear. I'm a little bit afraid to go back and watch some of the other reviews. So maybe on the reactions channel, I'm going to start reacting to my old videos, and we can do that as a little idea. If you're interested in that, let us know, because I bet some of that shit we said, hella cringeworthy.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reason that we're much better at this is actually y'all who watch the videos, who make an effort to leave a comment telling us whatever it is that you feel to tell us. It went from a lot of criticisms of a lot of negative stuff to a lot more favorable comments and more enthusiastic, educational driven comments. So we totally appreciate that. And our attitudes have shifted from arrogant people being like, blah, 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 we can do what we want on YouTube, to like understanding the culture and appreciating.
Well, I think that's it. We're just we're less ignorant. We're, every week we're smarter a little bit more. We know, we're learning these different names, these different artists, these different, kind of styles of rap, of the stories behind it. Where each place, the different things that were happening in different parts of the world at different times. We're learning a lot, actually. So thanks for sticking with us.
It's almost like there's a veil on your eyes when most of the rap and hip hop you listen to is pop. And then when you really delve into the history of everything, it changes it all. Like, what I mean is you just start to really appreciate stuff, but then you also start hearing stuff that other people are really raving about, understanding what the flashy pop side really comes off as and shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sounding a little pretentious here. That's not really my goal in all this. My point was to say that y'all in the comments really have both humbled us and taught us a lot. And because Google sucks, let's be real, it really sucks in the world of SEO.
And, as much as that we do try to Google things, it's hard to read a whole bunch about everybody, and
but it's also
it's just
Google sucks.
Yeah,
I just want to be clear,
especially with the underground rappers.
Even when you find shit, it's just not helpful. And you know what the best part is with the comments, y'all tell us sentences to Google, and then Google is a little bit more practical. But if you were to Google...
I've been using a lot of Urban Dictionary for resources for certain things. If I'm what does that really mean?
More
and then I try and find something that makes logical sense.
Even Showbiz and A.G's Wikipedia pages are not the lengthiest, most detailed situation.
Yeah.
So there's very little to even expand upon. If you Google them, you're not finding anything. So you actually have to go dig deeper, and the problem is with it's I don't even know what the deeper is. I found out what
I think you just end up on Reddit.
Yeah, but just to be clear for us, I first discovered what a D.I.T.C was last week when we reviewed D.I.T.C, just to kind of pivot
There's so much more that we don't even know.
It's just every time, this is a super group that everybody in hip hop should know about. And in fact, we only discovered last week, having reviewed albums for 2 years and 3 months. That's crazy. No, that's how deep hip hop can really get. I bet every single one of you watching this is yeah, We know that. All right, we'll move along. We'll move along.
We're learning. We're learning.
We do like
That's
to
it.
point out our favorite comment of last week's video, which was the D.I.T.C. self-titled album from 2000, which, come on, let's be real, that shit is the bomb. On that, Linda Williams says, ha ha ha, I totally agree about the remix song. In fact, I think most remix songs are always fall short of the original. Well, Linda, we're going to talk tonight. As far as the album goes, I think it is a classic, but only for exposing their names to a bigger audience than they already had. I guess we were just saying it didn't really work. I found all these guys more on the solo end of it.
But also, it wasn't, Mom. I mean, I guess maybe
we
it was
also
about,
weren't
like,
really around in 2000 paying attention to shit. I
Yeah.
remember for me, it was like, do you know what 2000 brought to my life?
I can tell you right now, Jennifer Lopez, that one where she was like in the waterfall there.
For me, it was this thing right here is to let all the ladies know thought that you got. My absolute favorite song in 2000. I was 12. That was a good music video.
Yeah, it was actually like a fun music video. I mean, the black lights and
I didn't know what a thong was until that fucking
boy.
video came out, and it taught me some great shit at that age. Anyway, so by the time this album came out, at least two of the members were on their way to the mainstream side of the business, more or less. I can imagine Fat Joe is one of them. For me, I think the score is a 4.2 of a classic, because on this album they weren't as experimental as usual. Although the album has some interesting subject matter and rhymes, it was fucking great. I do see how it would appeal to someone who, sound-wise, if this was the sound that was popping at the time. I like the sound of that time. Mm-hmm. I do think the scores fit as far as someone's personal taste rather than their exposure. I think that's true about everyone all the time. Great review. Anyway, I just wanted to read the comment. So if you leave something, we could read your comment next week. And if you read a really, really long one, I'll read a big chunk of it, but probably not the whole thing. On that note, special thanks to the patrons, the same Mr. Lindell Williams, Ismail Gadamsi, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Chris Prado. We'll talk a bit about that at the end. Now we're going to start the show. This is when the timestamp people would have come in if you clicked. Bonnie, why don't you tell the Google overlords what we are reviewing one more time?
Well, folks, this week we are doing Showbiz and A.G. Runaway Slave.
And why are we reviewing this album?
Because Mr. Lindell Williams told us to.
With the power of his Patreon request. So he asked us to do this album, and we fucked up and ended up doing D.I.T.C. last week.
But hey, more for you guys, right?
Which is cool, because it allowed me personally, because this is the part of the show where we're going to contextualize how familiar we are with these artists. But had we just done Showbiz and A.G., Runaway Slave, just like this and that, I'd be sitting here going, I never heard of this guy. I don't know anything about him. Who the fuck is he? I would maybe not have even understood how cool they were, per se. But we did this D.I.T.C. album, which features both Showbiz and A.G. Mm-hmm. So I feel like just last week I went through the, oh wow, this is really good phase. And now it's more like, oh shit, I get to see their first proper album, because they had the little EP thing before this, but I believe it is their first proper album. If I'm wrong, you can correct us
September
in the comments.
September 22nd, 1992, so it's an oldie.
And so to me, it's like kind of cool, right? Because we saw like this polished, strong sound, and I'm using those words on purpose, coming from them in 2000, in my opinion. Like, it was pristine. And now we get an amateur version. And not to say that it sounds amateurish, but like the youthful, we're just kind of getting into it, freshness of it. So that's my whole expectation coming into this project, was this curiosity of like, how often do we really do that? Listen to something in 2000 from an artist and then literally drop some shit from 92 to, like, we don't do that very often.
No.
So I thought it would be kind of cool in that regard. But on the real, I don't know very much about Showbiz and A.G. I do know more about the other guys in D.I.T.C. But for me, it was just, I understand who they are and their significance over time a little bit more now. Mm-hmm. And that was about all I had going into this project. So y'all probably know a little bit more than we do. And what about you?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Same thing. Like, I mean, I didn't know about D.I.T.C. until last week, and then I was introduced to A.G. and Showbiz on that album, and now I'm here doing A.G. and Showbiz for you.
Does it matter if it's Showbiz and A.G.? Like, I don't know. I'm just not sure if that's like
the
proper...
I mean, that's how it's written.
But like, I guess conversationally, we could put it in any order because it's okay.
It's like, you know, you can say Rakim and Eric B. It took me a second. I was like, wait, which is the right way to say it? Like the other way around.
Like Sharon Sunny. It just doesn't sound right. Anyway, that's not really the point. Let's talk about this album cover where you have Showbiz on the left and A.G on the right sitting on these stairs. And it just looks like this grimy, rusty little environment. Really tacky looking early 90s coloring. For the styling of the letters.
Yes.
Not my favorite colors.
And the way that they, like, if it's like some word font play here where they, like, make it go sideways.
Well, I like that, right? Because as it's saying run away, the letters run away in terms of formatting.
Yeah.
That's clever. It's mostly the orange and lime green color that I'm not so... And then this... Orange and oranger. You know, like it's got a little redder on the O. And then they're just sitting there in such a non-distinct way, just like staring.
Purple tracksuit. Gotta love it.
I mean, it's so 90s. I like it. I mean, I want to dress like them. Don't get me wrong. I've been told I'm not allowed to.
I mean,
anymore.
A.G basically looks like what anybody else would look like today. Like he's just wearing like khakis, a t-shirt, and a cap.
I was thinking more about Showbiz, okay?
Yeah, Showbiz obviously looks like a Showbiz's
attire. It's dope. Either way, it doesn't do a lot for me, but I suppose it does show me their faces in a cohesive way to figure out which one is which, and that's very pleasant.
And they like distinctly say this is Showbiz over here, and this guy over here is A.G.
That's what I was just saying. Anyway, that's fine. But I like how they have the explicit lyrical thingy in the background, almost like it's graffiti on the wall.
Yeah, it looks like a sticker or something.
That was kind of cool. But then you have the little promo track list thing there. And I don't know if that's like the digital version or... Oh, no, it's not there. Actually, I've found that I was on Genius looking at that album cover, which looked like it was like a disc. And then if you go look at it on Spotify... Well, the explicit lyrical content thing and that sticker goes away. So you know what? You guys who have an actual record or disc or whatever can let me know what it actually had there or not. Anyway, I like the title though, Runaway Slave, because it implies like a freedom. And, you know, if you really think about just what a runaway slave, the implications of what that would have been like back in the day, you know, the boldness to have to be able to, the courage and shit to choose to run away, knowing all of the risks and shit. Like, to me, you get this sense of like, I am doing the bold and brave here, right? And then the risk and this fear and shit that would come into that.
Well, I think it also has to do with, I mean, it's of the times, right? It's 1992. I think it's still feeling like the power and like that hold that white people have over Black people, and how they are still feeling like they're being hounded by them. They're being chased after like they're like they are runaway slaves essentially, and that they're still being beaten in the streets and killed, and you know all the stuff that happened, you know, Rodney King and all of that.
And then there's like the other side where it's almost like by kind of taking a more intellectual route or a more spiritual route, it's like you're becoming a runaway slave to a more dark system surrounding it. So it's a really cool title actually. Like it's vague enough to interpret a whole bunch of shit even before you get into it, but it also makes you go into it thinking, I'm probably not going to be listening to some dumbassery. Like, that was my first thought. Like, it's probably not just going to be ego tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 90s. There's a couple. But it's, like, not the whole album. Anyway, do you want to jump into this little project here?
Yeah, let's check out Still Diggin.
I mean, we are still digging in the crates.
The man with the clout tipping on again and stout. Yo, I'm out. Showbiz, my man.
Before we really talk about anything, there is a line in here, and I really like it a lot, but I think it showcases the quality of Diamond D's lyrical ability, but also the ridiculousness of 1992, all at the same time. I practice my craft so you can call me macaroni. Now that's a dope line, because his craft, as in his rapping skills, but the double entendre is because craft makes macaroni. What's the next line? And I get cheese. Holy shit, macaroni and cheese, motherfucker. But it's also like his craft that he's practicing gets him bread. It's fucking well written.
Like money.
I'm just pointing that out because I feel like from a writing perspective, this album is full of that shit. And then the next line is, and more rum than a pony. Smoke a lot of herb, but I don't chew tobacco. When show drops the beat, I say holy mackerel. And I mean, I'm not necessarily praising the rest of the lyricism to like that level of dopeness, but
Yeah.
like I feel like that's what this album had. Like right away, like it's just that is such a well written line that I practice my craft so you can call me macaroni. It's such a good line that I just wanted to start off on like that's a good line note. All right, Bonnie, how do you feel about this track?
I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I found the beat was enjoyable. There was like that kind of like floatiness where it was going between like ears, I guess, on the headphones. And you guys always know, I always say I enjoy when like they do something like that that's maybe a little bit different. And they all sound good on this one. Like there's not really anybody that like stands out or seems worse. Like they're all equally good. They're smoking weed. They're still digging in the crates. They're doing what they do. And at the end, they just kind of like shout out all of their pals, all of their friends, like just saying like, hey, like thanks for like helping us out. Sort of like a thank you at the beginning, like acknowledging everybody. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And it feels very like New Yorky, and I'm gonna say this a whole bunch. It's very jazzy. So I thought it was good. I gave it a 4 on 5.
I mean, I love the beat. I think
Yeah.
Showbiz's production
The beats are fun.
absolutely fucking stellar. Like you just get sucked into it, and it's to a point where on multiple occasions on this album I had significant trouble caring what the rapping was about, because hearing stuff, and this is not a disrespect to the line, but that I'm an old champ like Bruno Sammartino or Ivan Putski or the brother Tony Atlas, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I had to click on this Genius annotation who told me who all these people are. They're all pro wrestlers. And I'm like, okay. It's fine. Like, it wasn't like it was just like names. It was like when somebody tells you, and this is just those lines, and I'm just nitpicking, but I just feel a certain way about the cultural references that are just names like that. It's like when somebody tells you a story about their colleagues and they name everybody, and you're like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah.
That was a little bit. But then, like, buy my EP in Showbiz will be the fattest and baddest is my status. I knew a man named Thaddeus who rode a train to Georgia just like Gladys Knight in the Pips. There's no 40s on my lips. Yo, pass them away, and I might flip and take a sip. So he's gonna drink. It's not gonna be the cheap shit. It's gonna be
I
nice.
appreciated the Gladys and the Pips reference.
So personally, like, of all of that little section, the only line that resonated with me was the drinking part, because I understood that. And then he goes, and sit back and smoke a blunt with Slick Nick. Sometimes he puffs slow, sometimes he puffs quick. I'm like, I bet that line meant something to a lot of people out there.
To Slick Nick, it really did.
And I know that, again, that Slick Nick is a guy, and he has a song called Sometimes I Rhyme Slow. And I bet that like rhythm is like an interpolation from that track. But listening to it in 2019, I'm like, again, the beat is really great. And I'm not, like, I know that I haven't said this yet, but this is Showbiz's verse, and his rapping from like is great to listen to. He enunciates the rhythm is great. The actual rhymes are well written. I just don't really understand any of the people and shit that he's talking about. Whereas if we go back to Diamond D, I understand all the stuff he's talking about, so I can really like appreciate it. Like the beats for the Jeep Kid, they don't come cheap. I'm like, okay, I know what a Jeep is. Like I can picture that. That makes sense to me. I don't know what with Lou Dog in the Path means, but sit back and laugh or maybe sign an autograph. Okay, I can connect with it. I don't know if this is really interesting to y'all. It's just, that was what I took away from this song. How much I could understand what was going on in the first verse, and how the second verse sounded really good to listen to in a top level kind of way, but was hard to connect with. I digress. The chorus is pretty like, because I believe they had Diggin in the Crates was a song on the last project they had dropped. So, starting off with We're Still Digging, Digging in the Crates, like going through the vinyl, like we looking up for the best shit. I find it super interesting that A.G is not on the first track on this album, and that it is Diamond D almost like hyping up everybody, Showbiz coming in, doing his thing, getting you almost excited for A.G to come in. I really enjoyed listening to this. So don't take my criticisms like this, it wasn't stellar to listen to. I was just the lyrics and my understanding. So 4.25 on 5, because this is actually like, it made me excited to hear the rest of the project. And it's an hour and 9 minutes. So it has to be like an engaging start for you to want to be excited for a hour and 9 minutes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So 4.25 on 5. Dope way to come in. And yeah, why don't we move on then to the following track, which is called Fat Pockets. It's Fat Pockets. I was prepared.
And out like a Boy Scout, brothers always shout. You're looking out, show. Yeah, without a doubt.
If I may, because we do have A.G. finally joining us in this.
Yep.
And I wanted to bring attention to a fantastic lyric. Like Mike Tyson, I'm upstate, and you know it's a fact black. That's more like the preface line. So if she says no, that means no. And that no matter how cute or how desperate, ayo, she gotta get the boot. Yeah, she gotta see the exit, but I'm not mad I didn't hit it. I just dialed 7 digits and some skins that's with it. Do you hear what this man says right here? And what year is this?
1992, folks.
How many years before #MeToo?
A whole bunch.
17. No, 16, because it happened last year. It wasn't 2019.
Did you say 2016? It happened last year?
No, I said no, 16, as in not 17 years. I digress. I thought that was really cool. Honestly, just in the middle of this fucking song about like getting money and shit.
Well, also like the no means no, I think message has been out for like a fair amount of time. I think women were at one point okay, we need to tell people.
When was the last time you heard a rapper on any of our songs really do this?
I bet you we've heard something like
Yeah,
this.
the fact that none came to your mind, 101 albums, I'm just throwing it out there. Like it was that significant to me. It's up there with like Use a Condom.
Yeah.
Although Use a Condom does get said a lot more. There's about 8 or 9 times. But like, yeah, no, I was really, really in shit. Like I'm like, wait, so the song is about how y'all are trying to get rich and shit, but also respect women.
Well,
Because
yeah.
a bunch of other ones will be
Just
down to
because
fuck.
you want to be rich doesn't mean you have to be a rapist.
But like the fact that actually happened is incredible. Okay, so before Bonnie talks, one more thing. So it should be flashing up now, but I noticed this little fine fellow appearing in the music video. And I was so proud of myself for catching the feature of Lord Jamar just kind of bopping around. And I think that the screen capture I got of him is absolutely fucking fantastic. Apparently, Sadat X, Big L, Peter Guns, Diamond D, Lakeem Shabazz, and Kid Capri are all in the music video to Fat Pockets, although the only one I recognized was Lord Jamar. And this video taught me what both Showbiz and A.G look like. So that was very helpful.
Good. Very good.
But yeah, otherwise the video is just a lot of people bopping around, and I was like, okay. But I saw Lord Jamar, and I got kind of happy. You gotta understand, I spent like 6 minutes on this. Like I scrolled back, I sent it to my friend.
Is this Lord Jamar? And I'm like, I don't know who
I
Lord
pulled up
Jamar
like a
is.
modern Lord Jamar pic, and I'm like, it's the same guy, no?
And I'm like, I guess, yeah.
I Googled it, and thankfully somebody in a random ass forum thread pointed it out. In like the buried, I had to Control F to find it, but I was like, yeah, I caught that. I feel a little bit cooler. Anyway, how do you feel about this song?
I mean, it's basically about them. They like to make money and you know, but they're also still like a bit stingy with their dollars too. Like they won't just like spend it wherever. Like they will spend it kind of wisely, I guess. And just kind of talking about the life that they're living and how they're kind of getting all these girls wherever. But, you know, like you said, they're also not just like raping girls because they have enough available. They don't have to actually go out and, you know, do anything that's unnecessary.
I even missed it right before the Mike Tyson line. It's getting pussy. Oh, that's regular, but the sex I never take because that bitch screams rape. Mm-hmm. And that's like that's AG's first verse on this album.
Yeah. You know, and they're making money and they're not getting like tricked into spending money unnecessarily, like for like girls or anything like that. Like they're, you know, they're just doing their thing and they're not falling for anything. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I mean, I think I enjoyed, Showbiz a little bit more, on both of these tracks than I did than just like AG on this one. But I am, you know, I'm getting into it. And it's good. It's sort of just about like, you know, grinding and sacrifice and yeah, general good message. So I give it a 4.25.
I mean, I liked it better than the last one, a little bit better.
Yep.
I feel like the beats equally as good, a little bit different, like different enough to be like a completely different track when you listen to it.
Yeah.
But still in that same vein of sampled to like beautiful, blended well together. Like the kind of I'm starting to really understand why people don't like the current production, because there's this richness to what you're hearing in this music that some people like a Bjork can do really well with the modern sound, because like that Utopia album was next level when she like pushed it. But at the same time,
I think it's the same thing if you think even further back than that. I think it's more why people like listening to records. They like that kind of raw, scratchy kind of. It's the same sort of thing as like going back to
me,
like
it's
the
not
90s,
just like the
you know?
scratchiness to it, because like whatever, the scratchiness isn't my favorite, but it's more how many different layers of sounds are like put together in such a almost unconventional way to create something new. Like when you're staring at a program and you're timing everything perfectly, and there's almost like this off time syncopation that happens with this sampling that creates almost new rhythms that are just ridiculously cool. Anyway, so I think it's just interesting, because I'm really like, at first I didn't really like this style of beats. And it took me like well over a year to get like into it proper. But now when I'm hearing it, you find that groove and you're just going through it. And then Showbiz starts this off, and I mean, from his verse, what I really liked in the first one is like, I'm down with D.I.T.C that's digging into crates. It's very helpful to explain the acronym, I'm not gonna lie. And my partner A.G, we always keep crazy papes. I'm staying fat because what comes around goes around. And always help out and help a brother who when he's down. And oh, like a Boy Scout, brothers always shout. Good looking out, show, yeah, without a doubt. But don't try to take it, whatever. But the fact is, it's almost like the main motivation for having money isn't material wealth or like trying to like floss about having Gucci's and shit. It's like, yo, if my boy needs help, I can do that. And that's the point of pride, is I am like a person who can solve problems inside of your life. And I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, these guys are coming at it at a like ethical angle that you don't see a lot of in this era of almost this basic responsibility shit. I don't know, like, I like when the third verse, which is also Showbiz. So again, it's a Showbiz and A.G album, and A.G's barely appeared so far. Don't get me wrong, he comes in later on. But I really enjoy how the third verse is time to take the brothers from the corner, clean up the act, and give them a chance to do what they wanna. I'm not trying to be a bum with a 40, that's not my style. I gotta work hard like naughty by nature. You should understand, to get yours in this line, you gotta work for yours, black man. Think it's easy cause I rap? So don't ask me for $1, motherfucker. You ain't handicapped, and if you was, you'd still have a chance. Look at how I flip, ain't this a bitch? Now I'm making you dance. I'm like, that whole part's fascinating, right? Cause on the one hand, it's like he wants to help people get jobs and shit. But at the same time, if you're gonna come at him and be like, yo, you're just a rapper, you're just getting this easy money, he's like, well, shut the fuck up and do it then. If it's so fucking easy, do it. It's not that easy. It's really fucking hard to be a successful rapper in 2019. But
and apparently in 1992 as well.
I don't think it's ever been easy. But like, all things to saying, it's like you're really struck from this like sense of, man, like this is some really like, I guess everything I would like to be if I was rich type of shit. Like doing all the right stuff. Like I'm trying to make $1 million, some shit I never saw before. So save that bullshit for later. So when I'm large, hoes give me head on an escalator. Yes, sir. That sounds wonderful.
That is some fast head. Because you only have like...
No. Check it. If you are that rich, you just can find a really big escalator. And then... Or you can get to the top. I mean, and then you can just go down the escalator and you can cycle it. I mean, I don't know how long you're going to last on the escalator. Maybe it's like your total fetish and you're so into it that you bust in about 47 seconds. My point is...
It's still too long.
I love the honesty in that. Like, I'm trying to make $1 million. I'm trying to get something I've never had in my life. Like, so when you hear about the wealth acquisition gain, there's something about a guy who doesn't have $1 million trying to make $1 million that I want to listen to. Whereas a guy who's got the bag, I don't have the bag.
I have all kinds of bags.
Thank you. I don't have the bag, so why the fuck do I want to listen to how you have the bag? You know, like I don't understand that shit. Like why is that cool that this guy is wearing Gucci? It's not. You know what's cool? This guy's grinding to get that Gucci. I don't know if he actually bought Gucci. But either way, he wants to get
They're
head
having-
on
well,
an
okay, yeah.
escalator. That's a goal. It's like, that's
that a goal?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. It's like,
I feel like
It's
it
like,
would
did
hurt
you-
the knees, like the metal.
did you see the video of the couple having sex in the self-driving Tesla?
No.
Life goals. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean,
I
I
get-
feel like that makes a little bit more sense because it's a hands-free situation.
I gave this song a 4.35. Well, Escalator's pretty, like, effort-free. Anyway, 4.35. I really like the track. It's really cool. I feel like it's not, like, next level blows me away, per se, at this point. But it's, like, really enjoyable and really distinct lyrically, in my opinion. Like, I do think that the content of what these guys are talking about really, like, we're 2 tracks in, and it's pretty standout. Anyway.
So
Something
let's check out Bounce to This.
on the Escalator.
I myself, you know the one. Doing what I gotta do when I do come. I just get.
All right, Bonnie.
Ding, 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 ding.
I guess that's how we're starting with the ding ding.
I'm bouncing to this, okay?
Dres starts us off on this one. Another
I'm
feature.
saying it's Dres.
Is it?
I don't know. You're
He
saying
says it
Dres.
right at the
I'm
beginning.
saying Dres. Who
He
knows?
says it right at the beginning.
Okay, maybe he does.
I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna look really stupid having said that, but that's okay.
I'll take the stupid looking.
No. It's
I
fine.
tend to, I suppose.
That's not even true. But what do you think about this song?
It does what it does. It has a nice beat. It makes you like want to nod your head and kind of move along. Dres introduces them at the beginning, and he's just kind of saying like, no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, like you can like enjoy this. You know, like you can bounce to this. Like this is for everybody. I like that he kind of says like, even if you're deaf, you got to bounce to this. Like maybe they can like feel like the beat or whatever and like know that it's like bouncy and like, I don't know, maybe deaf
can.
people, of course. And I know that's how they feel things. And so that'd be great. So anyways, I just thought it was a fun, happy song. I really liked it. You know, I like this kind of like, you know, more like fun sounding stuff. I give this a 4.5 on 5.
I mean, yeah, it's basically this one is a little more.
It's just to listen to and to bounce to.
Yeah, it's got like this chiller vibe to it, you know, like the lyrics are like, speak to your speaker, because it's the time of day, it's something new for the mass people, tribe hard, die hard shit, hardly ever, not never, but whichever your pleasure, whatever's clever, we're deeper than the ports in the back of your cerebellum, you know, and then it's just, they're setting it up, we're great rappers. This one's a little bit more on the ego track side of it, but let's be real, still Diggin.
I don't think it's an ego track song. I think it's like them. I think it's more of like, hey, like this is us, this is who we are, this is what we're going to do, and just like allowing the music to like kind of play.
But maybe it's like more their version of it, because like, I mean, I just get off not just to say yo, I say I do it good, and Chaka kind of knows that we be in Hollywood. Don't get jealous if we cash large checks, because we skibbity dip dip do dip for effects. Like it's a little bit flossy, it's a little bit braggy. Brothers think I'm dissing, but I'm really on the dicks. What? Okay, is that? Can one of y'all translate that one for me, please?
Maybe he was gay.
Maybe. Look, I mean, it's really doubtful he's admitting to it in 92. But sometimes some of these things that these dudes said really come off super homosexual listening to it in 2019, even if it was fly back then. Like, you know, that Biggie line, so, you know, whatever, so good, I'll suck your daddy's dick. I mean, some of this shit's just like, did he really say that? Okay.
But I think it is also like that kind of, you know, I mean, I think we're getting a little sidetracked, but I do think it is like shock value.
Hold on. Allow me to say one of my favorite lyrics on this album. I forgot all about it. So I was boning mama and your mother fucking told me. And so what I like about that is he's boning mama. So he's literally fucking a mother. Mm-hmm. But that motherfucking wasn't actually like motherfucking in the context that we use. It's that while he's banging your mother like fucking told you. And I was like, that's cool. That's a clever fucking lyric just because of the use of motherfucking in that tone. I was done, I was like, this is fucking great shit. I like that stuff. I can't help it. AG comes in, you can bounce with Dres, you can bounce with Dre, you can flip the script, or you can parlay. He said parlay. It just keeps getting better. I am sincere here. This is not sarcasm. This is fucking good shit. No? You don't agree?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then AG does his verse, and it's proper. He flows on through. I mean, I don't think there's too many like great one-liners like when he dropped Parlay over there, but it's still pretty fucking proper. I really enjoyed this song. I definitely felt myself bouncing to this. I'm not on lockdown, but I did have boom in my headphones because who has a box anymore? And so I'm just throwing it out. This is what it says. Anyway, 4.5 on 5. I really dig the track. It's really cool. But you know what? There's more than one way out of the ghetto.
Yep.
As a little kid, I wanted to be like the dealers a lot because of the things they had and I respect.
A lot of songs on this album start with these fucking obtuse little introduction cuts that like, yeah, we got everybody in the house, boom, boom, boom. And then it like abruptly stops and abruptly the song will just start.
Yep.
And on the one hand, I appreciate them not really inflating the track count with a bunch of skits. On the other hand, you kind of have to get through that intro every time. And I, like, sometimes you're like, what? Okay. I don't know. It's just part of the times, I guess. But to me, it was like, okay. I got past it real quick because the song's fucking dope.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to mention it on the rest of them because it's basically like every fucking song. Well, at least half the songs have them.
There's a lot of them.
Anyway, what do you think about this track?
First things first, I have to say this one is like very jazzy, and they're very jazz influenced. You can definitely tell, and like not in just like one instrument. Like they really like play like the field of jazz, and I think they do like a stellar job of incorporating that sound into their music, and I think it's really great. I really like it. So he's basically saying he grew up in the ghetto and saw like drug dealers, you know, kind of as like the idols, as like the people who have money, it's the cool guys who are, you know, time and time again we have heard about this, you know, where it is like the drug dealer who's sort of like the, you know, the hero among like the ghetto essentially. And so because of that, he kind of ended up getting involved into some criminal behaviors. And so that's kind of like the story here. We have, you know, Andre the Giant, and he mentions that it is, he's called the Giant not because of his height. And we can kind of see that
he's implying it's his penis.
How do you know that?
That's what I took from that.
Well, I mean, there's lots of other parts of on your body.
I must be crazy cash and crazy women. Yeah, my gear was right. They called me Andre the Giant, and it wasn't because of my height.
Mm-hmm. And he does look a little short because when you're looking, he's sitting next to Showbiz on the cover.
Gear involved in the ladies is his dick.
Maybe his car.
It's his dirt. This is the
Anyways,
night.
yes,
it is still an era where the size of your dick measures your measure of yourself as a man, right?
I still think it still measures stuff today. But anyways,
yeah.
So
but
he's
it's
just
less
trying
cool.
to, yeah. It's toxic masculinity.
I think everybody else heard the Dr. Dre porno skits and were like, this is too much.
Yep. So he's basically just saying like to stay out of like that sort of criminal life. He's just kind of giving a warning, and saying that he was lucky enough to escape, and he was lucky enough to be able to like change his ways and to go down like a different path before anything really serious happened. And often, like, you know, again, we do hear a lot of the time on a lot of rap songs, not a lot, but some, where, like, you know, somebody gets involved in, like, the gangs, and, like, it could be, like, their first, like, you know, sort of initiation or something that gets them killed, that gets them, you know, in jail, that, like, something really, really bad happens right away. And so, like, he's very lucky that he, you know, from, like, the beginning, even that little time that he was involved in, like, the criminal behavior, that he didn't actually end up, like, dead or in jail or anything. So, he's very lucky, and he's saying like, you might not be so lucky, so take heed, like this is like your warning. And he's basically letting kids know that there's like more than one way out of the ghetto, and that, you know, he can be like the idol that you look up to, you know, that you don't have to like sell drugs or like, you know, get involved in criminal stuff, and you can be legit and still make it out and make money and be happy and, you know, live like a, you know, a good life. So I really like this one. I thought it was very honest and very raw and amazing sounding. There's a really good message to it. And essentially it's inspirational, really. So I give this a 4.75. I liked it.
Allow me to be clear, because I don't even think Bonnie gave enough credit to the poetic device that's used in this song. Y'all have seen that meme on the internet. You start reading the shit. You're worthless. Every time you look in the mirror and have an idea, you shouldn't do it. And you just read this depressing shit, and it gets to the end and it says, now read this backwards. And it's like the complete opposite. And you're like, okay. Now, if you look at the way this song is constructed, it's almost like a curve where the climax is the pinnacle moment where he's in jail for a minute and he changes. Everything before that, it's there. And you can see it shit from like... had a talent or hobby, you should say. I rap for poetry. Instead of staying in the drugs, we started selling it. Instead of rocking the parties, I was robbing them. You know, all that shit. And then if you look just like at the end of the song, it kind of starts to flip the script. You know, I gotta go write an exact. Instead of a package, I wanted a mic and a hype track. Instead of robbing the parties, I'm ripping it. MCs were getting done every week, a different one. And I'm not saying he line for line did it, but when I heard the way he constructed the track, the tone starts in like, yo, fuck that shit. And it emotionally takes you on that same experience of that high where it's all bad, and then it kind of lyrically brings you down as how, yo, I went from this method of getting out of the hood, which was very negative, although it had some positives, it was still very negative. Andre the Giant, just saying, not because of his height. Come on, guys. Anyway, then he flows on through it, and all of a sudden you're like, at the end, take my advice because the giant cock said so, and remember, there's more than one way out the ghetto. And then you're like, you see, the point is there, as much as it might look that there's a certain way to escape, he found through the rhymes and this way, this was a way better way to approach the situation.
Yep.
Anyway, I thought this song was absolutely brilliant. I think the beat was brilliant. The concept was brilliant. The rhyming was, like, as far as storytelling goes, it's pretty spectacular. It's memeable. You could make a meme out of this shit. 5 on 5. Brilliant motherfucking song. Cool. Anyway, why don't we talk about the remix to Silence of the Lambs?
You can forget it if you think you're gonna get it and rip it next. Yeah, whatever's clever.
My first thought is, why the fuck is the remix first? I can answer that question. I know why the remix is first.
So why?
We're going to talk about it when we talk about Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
It just seems more appropriate then. On that note, this beat is jazzy. You can tell that they have a lot of jazz-infused influences. But, like, I want to point out that, like...
It's very jazzy.
It's different than your normal jazzy. This feels more in the spirit of jazz.
It sounds like a jazz bar or something.
But it sounds like the improv part of jazz, where you're just, like, being creative and, like it doesn't sound like the structured, this is the jazz elements and we're fusing it, I find. I feel like it's a lot less disciplined sounding than maybe, like, I don't know if that's the right word for it.
It sounds live. It sounds like you're at a jazz club, at a jazz bar, like real people.
So what's the difference in what we're saying? It sounds more alive.
I'm not saying anything different.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, so as far as this one goes, I don't know that there's a whole lot of this one's a little flossy, I think.
Yeah.
Now this goes for those who thought I fell. It's more to tell because the suckers are sort of gel because the giant finally got his props. We can box rhyme for knots and see. That's cool because props is like that. Box is like that. But, you know, anyway, rhyme for knots and see who got the biggest Glocks. It don't matter because I can withstand. I got no hair on my chest and take a guess who's the man. You know, it is fine. It isn't having the same crazy moments I was dropping earlier on this project in terms of great. Like, that line really, really struck out at me. I'm like, I don't really know if this is referencing like the movie The Silence of the Lambs, or if there's something that's The Silence of the Lambs that I don't know about.
I assume that that's what it is. And also, it's not just the movie. It started as a book.
Okay, but I don't know enough about the reference, so I was just kind of curious in general. Oh, it is a book, and
I
yeah,
just told you that.
yeah, but when did the movie come out?
After the book.
In 91. So yes, it was possible. Anyway, I'm sorry. Now who's stepping first? Because it's time for the second verse. You want to withdraw? Well, don't stall because it's getting worse. I got to show off my stuff. If it's a 40, I'll take a sip. A blunt, then I'll take a puff. I'm undisputed, even when I'm booted. I'm like, it's okay. It's totally fine. Showbiz comes in and then probably says one of those lines you wish you didn't say all this time later. They said I was a rookie and my name was Charlie Sheen. It's not a name you want to be today, but it was a name that made sense back then.
Yeah.
Kind of like Trump. Some talked about my concert, said I was whack. 20% of beats was in my house in stacks and stacks. If I was blind, I might break like a referee so the next man can't see round 2 and 3. I feel like Showbiz is tighter on this, like in general, and AG's like. I like AG's voice.
Yeah, and they work well together. They really do. They're quite seamless.
But it's just in general, like
I like Showbiz too more.
I don't like Showbiz more all the time. I like Showbiz more in like what I believe to be like the earlier parts, because I get the feeling Showbiz has been doing this longer, brought AG into it in a sense.
Fair enough.
And he's kind of like turning it. Like in a sense, when I read Prodigy's book, he was describing how at first Havoc was the sicker rapper, but over time he like developed it. And I feel like what we heard on the D.I.T.C album, that AG was tight as fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, I guess I had that in the back of my mind, and I was a little bit like, okay, he's young, I'll give it to him. And it's the early 90s, so stuff's kind of like this.
Well, I think it's also more just that he's young.
But really, the beat blew my fucking mind. I gave it a 4.35. It's a really cool song.
Yeah, I mean, same sort of thing. Like, I didn't really have much else to describe this song for you guys. I really like the instruments. It's really fun, and they're basically just sort of showing off and flossing and just kind of like doing their thing. But it's just like a really nice, fun song to listen to in terms of like the beat. It's enjoyable. I gave it a 4.5. I think it's good.
All right. Well, instead of 40 acres and a mule, you'll get 40 acres and my props.
I settle the beat the best way I know how. Release a savage beast if I...
All right. I really like this song. Like a lot. I think it's a 5. That's how much I like this song. Because the beats got like really dope and jazz infused, but it's also somber as shit. Like it's got a different tone to it than what we've seen. And what I like about this project so far is we seem to have the more braggadocious songs, but it's never more than 2 in a row. And then we seem to have the really serious songs, but it's never more than 2 in a row. And they seem to be like, here's a fun one, here's time for you to think. Here's a fun one, time for you to think. And I like that. Yeah. I think that's a cool way to approach it because it shows that you're fun to hang out with, but you're also like real.
And it keeps people listening because like if you like, like making songs that make you think, then you're going to want to listen to the ones that are making you think. And if you want to listen to fun songs, then you're going to want to listen to fun songs. But the only way is to get through them all, and you're going to have to like experience both sides of it. Right. I think that's good.
I mean, this one to me, if I were to summarize it into a sentence, would be record labels sell a really bad image to black men to keep them down. That would be like the gist of this. Like, don't fall for that trap and recognize the danger of what all this shit really is. I mean, right off the jump, record labels try to juice me for my papers. They offer me a meal and what else? And 40 acres. And that's a crazy line because that's what the U.S. government did to the slaves and shit. Yeah. Offered them all 40 acres and a mule. Where's all the black landowners in America? Because imagine.
Yep.
They'd all be wealthy. I mean, the whole situation would be different if that had happened.
Absolutely.
I'm dissing snakes now. There's no time to catch the vapors. I'm not a pup for what a Muppet caper. And all the ghetto groupies get free with the quickness and show concentrate on only think about business. I hate to sell out because he put me in a rage. I play KRS and throw the ass out the stage. And like you get the sense that like, they really care about the actual business of the situation and like actually recouping and understanding their value and looking at how the record labels kind of extorting young people and playing upon it in a negative sense. Record companies try to juice me for my papers. They offer me a meal on about 40 acres to try to game me for my royalties, push me towards the dotted line, I don't sign. Interfere with my career, then it's back to the streets. Bang, bang on the pow, pow. I settled the beef the best way I know how. Police are savages and for not taking care. Rap is my career and it's my only way out of here. So they're very serious about their shit. The consequences of failure are bad. And if they let the record companies extort them, then they're just going right back to that shit, Then you get into a little bit more of what I believe to kind of being like just some bullshit that they're doing. Like they say a BMW is a black man's wish. Like that line was really interesting to me. I was like, and I mean, that sounds like some shit that's perpetuated for marketing. But, it really shows like the wealth attribution, like wow, these fancy ass shit. Like, I mean, if you look at the stats of how long a dollar stays in the black hood versus say the Jewish hood, and you look at that and it's almost like the music is a huge part of perpetuating that message. Maybe I'm reading too. Maybe I'm just actually applying like later knowledge to this song. I don't know. But I like how he goes instead. I wish for SB 1200 and some discs. Material C saying peace to the brothers in the belly of the beast. People saying show on a rhyme. I didn't want to get by to do Fed time. You want to live's correct. Anyway, and then AG does his little part at the end. Again pointing out that through the music they can kind of escape the shit of the situation and they want to be legit, but they also don't want to get fucked over and ripped off.
Yep.
So I thought it was really, again, educational. Like driving home the point, like you can just, they're not being suckers, they're not being played, like, where's my 40 acres, not the projects, of course, I asked for a mule, I got an iron horse, shit goes on as the song plays, can a devil fool a Muslim? Nah, not nowadays. And that little part's like kind of alluding to how the white folk enslaved everybody. And how nowadays people are waking up and being a little bit smarter. They already fell for that trick, so why are you going to fall for that trick again? Even though, as we can see with the music industry, a lot of people fell for that trick again. Still, I think it's an incredible song, especially in 1992. So it was dope.
Yep. Maybe I just wasn't really paying so much attention to it, but I got like the gist of like the message, for sure. And again, like this one sounds like very much like we're in a jazz club in like a bar or something like that, and it's like 1950s. Like it just sounds old school. I thought it was like a really nice beginning. That's how it kind of starts off. And like you were saying, he talks about like the issues with like the record companies and how like they're just trying to like rap their way out of the hood and out of like bad situations, and that this is what a lot of people are trying. But I didn't really maybe catch like that they're like it's a warning for other people. But I mean, that's good.
Well, I mean, you just got like, why are they writing the song? It's
well, of course, that makes sense.
It's simultaneously like, this is the authentic approach. I took the whole thing as like, we did it like this, so do the right thing too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and like the whole thing is like, it's hype rhymes. Like it's very good. I mean, that's pretty much it. I feel like this is sort of like right in the middle between like rap and jazz. So I think that if you are somebody that maybe doesn't really listen to too much rap, but like loves jazz music per se, I think this would be like a good like transition song and album for you to like kind of get into it if you wanted to like just kind of dabble into like the rap genre. And maybe even for like an older person, because like I was saying, it sounds like 1950s like kind of sounding jazz club kind of stuff. So I think that it's really like there's a lot of people that this can appeal to for sure. So I thought that was really, really cool. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I gave it a 4.4.
All right, so now it's time to talk about the title track, Runaway Slave.
Runaway slave, runaway, runaway slave, runaway.
So I was just saying how we never go 2 songs in a row of serious themes. Well, of course, you say something like that, and the album proves you wrong. But this is cool, because I believe this song is kind of showing the opposite mentality of the last song. So in like the first one, you get like this elevation of this is how you should be doing things. This is like the right things to focus on, be smart. And instead, AG's like, nah, this is what the opposite is like. This is what the slave mentality is really about. And it's just painting this picture of almost terrible decisions, like living in the slums with the bums, the rats and the stray cats, dogs with the rabies, little babies having babies, juveniles.
Yep.
Act wild. Every footstep you take, on every corner there's a crack vial, pushers, dealers, crackheads are buying. So I saw somebody comment that this song was like the message, and I kind of see it. It's really painting this picture of like a bad environment. My man got AIDS. He was hit hard. To get laid, he paid a crackhead for a $5 quick job. You can get sex for $5 off a crackhead? I don't mean it like in a, I want to indulge this,
You're like,
but like,
yes. No.
holy shit, that's like, that's cheap.
That poor girl.
Anyway, in the ghetto, this stuff you have to find. A bureau relax my mind, but I still pack my 9 because I'm aware of all evil and devilishment because I'm living in a rat-like settlement. And just like it flows in, and you know, 4 out of 9 were killed before their prime. The other 5 wanted vengeance. So now 5 out of 5 are doing a jail sentence. And it's like, see, 9 out of 10 are black on black crimes, and it's just like, of that, 4 of them were killed and the other 5 are in jail. So like 9 out of 10 black guys and shit of these guys are like fucking in a bad situation, and it's just really hard hitting, right? Like it's blunt. It's painting this picture of like this bleak reality that you're surrounded in, and this mentality, it seems, that's overtaking people, like that need for vengeance, perpetuating a cycle of violence. But really, you're either dead or in jail, which seems to be a very prevalent theme throughout a lot of hip-hop's history. Verse 2, same kind of thing. Chapter 2 of every black man's diary, drugs and diseases put in our society, which is fair. I mean, there's the idea that AIDS is a CIA thing that got put into the hood in the 80s. And then, I mean, it's very clear that the U.S. government taught Latin America how to push that coke into the hood. I mean, no, for real. Like, you look into that shit. I read a book on like Honduras and that part of the world, and like they were writing, yo, the U.S. government like showed up and trained the army how to move coke, and they were moving like 2 million a day through it. Like, that's how much coke was being moved by the U.S. government. And then all of these narcos were like, what the fuck am I being a soldier for? This is where the money is.
Yep.
And then why was the CIA selling coke and bringing it in the States? Like, what was the point of this? You know? Anyway, put it into the hood. Kill another brother and it's bravery. Come on, that's one step backwards into mental slavery. Yeah, you best believe that's reality. You got black on black, then there's police brutality. Yeah, it's bad, but what makes it sad is that I'm being harassed by a black man with a badge. He's selling out because he's two-faced. You only got one race. You only got a face. He's selling out because times is hard and old ladies are getting robbed because I can't find a job. The whole song's like this.
Yeah.
And it's just really powerful. And then on the chorus, it's got like this runaway thing that's just like panning, but it's like panning back and forth between your ears.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. That was a very experimental use of tech. But meanwhile, it's like, I gotta get away. I gotta do it now or find a better way. So how that sound? And then it's just saying runaway slave under it. This song is very powerful and shit. Very cool. I give it a 4.5 on 5. It's very enjoyable, very serious, very dope.
Yep. It starts off with like another sort of weird, long sort of intro beat, but I really like this one. I wanted to like mention that because like, you know, there are a lot of intros on the songs. And then basically like what you said, it's sort of just covering like the negatives, like the evils of the ghetto, the drugs, the AIDS, the guns, like the, you know, all of like this terrible things that are happening like in this, you know, place where he grows up and, you know, where kids are growing up and where, you know, his family is from. And I guess so it's hard seeing like the people that you love fall into like these like terrible traps, and it just is just like this cycle that you just seems like you can't escape, and it's just I can't even imagine.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So I wrote down a couple of like lyrics, but it's better than an Uzi and a brother man is dead. See, 9 out of 10 are black on black crimes. 4 out of 9 were killed before their prime. The other 5 wanted vengeance. So now it's 5 out of 5 doing a jail sentence. So I think that that's like I don't know. I mean, it's pretty like hard stuff when you hear that kind of like, you know, what's happening exactly, like how many people and how quickly like this, you know, these sort of crimes and this sort of like activity and like how just like things just get out of hand like so quickly. And then you know, I know you mentioned it as well, in another verse, you got black on black, Then there's police brutality. Yeah, it's bad, but what makes it sad is that I'm being harassed by a black man with a badge. So I think that that's like a real message, and again relates to what was happening at this time in 1992 in America. That was the war on drugs. People are being attacked, but like it's still going on today, as we all know. And it just seems like they're just like trying to like escape all of like this hate and persecution and as like a runaway slave essentially, but they're still being harassed and being I don't know, chased after and just killed for nothing, for literally nothing sometimes. And it's just ridiculous. And it's just sort of like kind of, I think that it's also too reflecting back on like the power that white people have over black people and how that can just create such terror and how they're just probably constantly frightened of people, and so that's why they get so angry. It just makes sense. Like it just makes sense.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. A very powerful message. I give this a 5 on 5.
So I made a mistake in one of my comments. I got confused in my notes. This song is more of a positive, or like not positive, but like from the mentality of this shit's fucked up, we need to end it, right? And when I said it's a reaction to the last song shit, I was a little bit premature. This song isn't so much a reaction to the last song, but the next song is most definitely the opposite reaction to this song. So why don't we move ahead, Bonnie, as we discuss Hard to Kill.
If I get back, I get out with the quickness. The DA, the judge, and the jury's on my head.
And yeah, like, he's not even subtle. Like, it starts off, before becoming a runaway slave, here's a taste of mental slavery, a backtrack. That was the point I was trying to make on the last one. I thought you guys got confused. Still, the idea here is to kind of, instead of looking at the situation for how fucked up it is and, like, trying to end it or to escape it, it's, like, the opposite. It's, like, being proud of the violence and embracing it. It's like, I'm hard to kill, yo. Check it. Many try to come close. Rest in peace to the deceased and the rest are comatose. I'm not a joke and I go for broke, and while I'm laughing, you'll be gagging from the motherfucking gun smoke. While the streets and I play for keeps, and while I entertain suckers stay 6 feet deep. It was good while it lasted, broken bones. Anyway, so it's the opposite almost. It's almost like bragging about it. What I think is cool about this song from like a political point of view is, like, imagine you're a conscious rapper and you want to prove you can write some gangsta ass shit. Well, take on a perspective of what the gangsta ass shit perspective is from the point of saying, just so that I know the other side of this coin, right? And to show that, to become this greater thing where you can escape the slavery of the situation, it's almost like you have to acknowledge this mindset, dressed in black with a hoodie and a low hat. What you did spoke to the witness, not a witness don't know jack. The giant and his crew are ill. We're sick ass convicts. We're hard to kill.
You know what? Snitches get stitches.
But
that's what you get.
In a sense, it's the same level of like storytelling and descriptive nature and everything that we got on the last song, for real. But like, it's just the complete opposite. Like, and 40 bottles on the curb, and my mom got the bag of herb. Another brother tried to get ill and tried to make me out the block. He forgot I was hard to kill. I ran for cover, so the brother missed. He hit my man in the head. Now Ed is dead. Yo, what is this? I won't stop until I get some rest. He popped by the cops. Too late for EMS. Ain't no chance for survival. Why is that? He tried to go head on. Now he's dead on arrival. And this side is maybe something a little more common that we encounter, like this idea of like the vengeance, the desire to kill. And I think if we look at this from like the bigger point, when you're trying to convince somebody of something new, to challenge their conceptions and get them to rethink their way of life, it's important to show that you can empathize with them. So if you're gonna make a track that's almost like criticizing the same very lifestyle, I guess making a song glorifying it in a satirical kind of way effectively proves that you understand that lifestyle. But at the same time, if you link it to the other track, it's really just saying, if you think like this, you can think like this. So that is such a clever and crafty and well-placed move on this album to me. The beats as good. I feel like they're all as good for the most part. Like, it's very consistent beat work. They're almost all super enjoyable to me. I gave this another 4.5. It's really fucking cool, especially with like the song placement on this is some of the best I've ever seen on a project. Like, it's right up there with like the Eminem great albums where he couples all the songs, or like the way Kendrick flowed shit together. Like, to me, at least those two songs are that
I agree,
well placed.
actually. Now you mention that, it makes a lot of sense. They're really good together. And it does kind of like come across as like, this is sort of like how hard and gangster they can be, and yet there's still, I don't know, like there's still like sort of like a hidden message in there. And one of the lyrics I wrote down was, another brother tried to get ill and tried to take me out on my block. He forgot I was hard to kill. So that's sort of like the general message of like what we're getting, and how they will destroy everybody. And it is sort of like, it gives you, I guess maybe just me, because we've been doing a lot of this, or maybe other people who listen to a lot of rap. It does kind of give you the like battle rap kind of vibe, while at the same time being like hard to kill, like in terms of the government and the police and everything else trying to kill them and other gang members.
It's true, like,
as well.
It comes off like the braggadocious battle raps, but he's being 100% sincere.
Yeah. And then he shouts out all the crew, kind of crews across the states, and like Boston and Philly and like all of this stuff. And I think it is also, a song for people to come together and make it difficult for the white people to kill us, maybe even to kill our voices. Get out there and get heard and shout and scream and make it difficult for them to kill us, because we're not going down without a fight. Like, that's kind of what I felt a little bit as well. Like, they're kind of pulling everybody together because a lot of shit is going down at this time, and so they're kind of unifying everybody. And I think that that's like a really strong, powerful message. That, and they're friends with like KRS-One, so like it always just makes me think that like, yeah, like they know what's going on. They know like the way that they need to be. They know like the right stuff. And I think that they're not stupid. I think that this is like a good song, and it's fun, and yet you want to listen to it. And so, but it does have sort of like the, I guess sort of double entendre, but like there's more to it. Like there's sort of layers into it. So it's still like an easy and enjoyable listening, song. I think it was great. I gave it another 4.5. It's got nice rhymes, nice flows. Good job.
And if you thought the connections between songs, because I still think the first, like these last 4 songs or so are kind of connected. Like, you have, we make the music to escape the hood. The hood's a pretty fucked up place, and you should want to escape the hood. Mm-hmm. Killing people is a really bad idea. It's backwards thinking. And then after people die, sometimes you're just left trying to hold your head.
Who had shit sold up, rented some BMs and Volvos and Benz, so much jewels I had to pass shit.
I'm like pretty sure the people they're shouting out in the choruses is like all the people that they know that have like been killed or passed away or whatever. And
yeah,
there's just something about like just naming all these people. Like, I don't know who the fuck his cousin Chris is, but I guess
Chris is his cousin.
Like you read it, but like True Dog and Carrie Dope and Wally World, and I don't know who these people are, but there's always that saying, like, you die twice, right? When you actually die, and then the last time somebody says your name. So in a sense, like Tyrell and Cool K and his brother Cal and Big Todd and all these people, like, we're saying their names here. It's almost like I don't really have memories of them, but we're trying to keep their memories alive still. And I don't mean that like in a facetious or negative way. It's just the type of shit that I kind of think about. Death is just something to think about sometimes. Anyway, but it just seems like the verses are like this kind of like trying to be like a little bit upbeat and like keeping your head up and shit, and then you just kind of get to that like chorus where it just like kind of sinks in like really why you need to hold your head up while this shit's happening, like the first verse is fine, like, once again back with my friends, Diamond's beats are fat just like a band's, Andre the Giant is great, and I should also mention Lord Finesse, he's the funky technician, I'm on my way to the studio, it's the only way I know how to play down low, like this is how he escaped, punching keys like Rocky Balboa, saying rest in peace to Chaka Figueroa. Some got to grow up before they blow up. And did you ever know a young brother who had his shit sewed up, ran in some BMs, some Volvos, and some Benz, so much jewels I had to pass on to my friends? And it seems like all standard and shit. Like, you know, you're not really expecting anything like that chorus. And then it just kind of flows in, and like all of that just seemed like, yeah, we make music, this is how we're doing it, we're trying to build everybody up. Like, that's all I took from the first verse.
Yep.
Then you get that chorus, then you get the second verse, hold your head. That's what Showbiz said in memory of Coda Harris, the eulogy read, another friend was laid to rest. And then it started to click, because there was that first person that he shouts out, you know, rest, but then it started to realize, oh shit, you know, the world is chaos, confusion, and a big mess, and we got to keep striving to leave down, never stay down, but keep rising from the ghetto, but not always ghetto minded. Some are striving the finish line, they never find it. All of a sudden their life stops, from black on black to harassed by white cops, and they're like, oh, that's what this song's about. And it just like sinks in and shit. It's almost like everything else we've been listening to culminating into focusing on just like the death of the situation. I don't know. And then Showbiz comes back for the third verse and he keeps it proper. I don't know. I'm not trying to get bagged by any narc cops. What do you want, dope? Is this a joke? Is this the day they pulled me over? Searching for cracks and coke. What's the problem? You know I'm sober. If you drove a fucking Nova, they wouldn't have to pull you over. You're making me late. My papers are straight. Never hesitate to run and check and let me skate. And then on this verse, it's like a little bit more on, I guess, living in this situation that, like, you just want to live a proper life. You just want to survive. You just want a wife, not 25 to life, you know? And it's just how, in light of all of these dark-ass circumstances, the death, the harassment, all the things that make them feel like runaway slaves and shit, you have them sitting there going, yo, just keep your head up. We just gotta keep our heads up, stay focused, stay positive. The negative thoughts is gonna kill us and shit. And yo, if you look at all the self-help books, all the corporate self-help books, all the books you can fucking read, basically will tell you about the power of perspective and how positive thinking and keeping your head up will get you out of all circumstances. So super fucking practical knowledge in a very somber and heavy song that just like follows up all these other heavy songs and shit. So I'm giving it a 4.35 just on sound. It's not my favorite sounding one of them all, but yo, it's still like 4.35. It's that good. We're talking about compared to the last few.
Yep.
It's so good. Like, this whole album is powerful. Like, this is one of the first 92 albums, we're gonna say, where it sounds like 92, but I really like it. Like,
yep.
Whereas it's not like it sounds like 92, but I'm like, okay. No, don't get me wrong. Some of that shit, like the E-Shams, is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. I know DJ Black Hurricane. E-Shams and shit are cool. But in general, like, the 92 sound is a little corny for me.
Okay. I mean, this one is, you know, it is essentially what you were saying is basically, you know, a message to kind of keep your head up, you know, keep moving forward, you know, especially or even in tough situations. Anything, you know, like whether somebody goes to jail basically, or whether somebody dies, like one of your friends, and like this is like a reality for like a lot of people, you know, especially like where he's from and like these other like sort of like ghettos or like areas that are like, you know, going through this kind of stuff. You know, it is sort of just like a motivational song to try and stay better and to keep people from feeling like miserable, and that, you know, they can't like escape it, and that there is hope, that there is like something to keep striving for, and that, you know, we can be better and like we can escape all of this and, you know, get away from all of that. Again, same sort of like the runaway slave sort of like feeling a little bit. And it's just sort of, you know, stay positive, keep your head up and keep moving forward, and love those that are close to you, because you never know when they might get taken away. So that's kind of like the overall good message. I thought it was really good, and I think that it's important for people to listen to like this kind of stuff. So I would give this a 4.75.
All right. Well, when people talk too much, when you get surrounded by the yentas, it's all about the he say, she say.
One day upstairs, the two were chilling. His girl popped up, yup, she started ill.
So this one also has another introduction that does some shit for about 20, 30 seconds, and then it just stops super abruptly. and this track starts. So
Yep.
I don't know. At this point, I was like, I'm fucking tired of that shit. But still, the song kicks in. Why don't you walk us through this one?
Okay. So this is basically just sort of about the gossip that happens and the affairs that people have and when people get up to stuff, and how people will judge or presume things or will say things when maybe they should keep their mouth shut, or they're jealous. So it's just sort of different reasons why people might... why are you giving me that look?
I mean, that's not what the first verse is about.
Okay, so tell us.
All right. See, Victor, Victor is got a brother named Mike who's boning Shantae, and Shantae's Eric's sister, and Mike had a girl, and Shantae knew, and that's some down low little rendezvous. Now, that's not Victor. That's Mike, and Mike's doing some shit. So, Victor ends up escorting Shantae home. There's nothing Victor was not boning Shantae. Mike was boning Shantae. Now, Victor has a girlfriend too. And then these people saw Victor with Shantae. And then this led to some gossiping situation where basically Victor's relationship gets terminated because the girl flips the fuck out and freaking out. Like, why are you cheating? Why are you being like that? Why are you whatever? And it's over. The relationship was done. But Victor was a loyal brother. And, if I ever knew one, you say he's wrong, but that's not a fact. See, if you don't know the story, then you shouldn't say drag. So it's not so much about the infidelities and shit.
No, but it is just sort of...
more like, if you see some shit that looks like a thing...
Don't presume anything.
Make sure you know what the fuck is up before you talk. Because, listen, Victor was being a loyal brother, okay? He was not infidelizing at all.
But the people who saw them, we don't know what their relationship with them are.
All that the people who saw them just assumed that Victor was being Mike, when Mike was the one doing the boning.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it was, you saw something and assumed some shit and ran with it. So
Exactly.
those people...
So maybe they were jealous or...
They were yentas. They were gossiping people.
Well, anyways, they were busybodies. Yes, of course. But that's basically, that's kind of like the gist of it. Obviously, you went right through it. So I do also have to say...
set the record straight.
I have to say, on my usual, I love the jazziness to this. It feels very, jazzy, but, well mixed in as well. And I love the cello or the bass or whatever that's, featured in it. It sounds so good. It makes this one, super distinct. And I just love it. It sounds really nice. And obviously, it talks about, rumors basically only end up hurting people, whether it's, it escalates something else, it turns into something else, or somebody ends up getting killed, kind of what he talks about further on, and just sort of saying, and I'm sure many a rumor, honestly, has caused people to end up getting killed, because girls will be like, oh, she said this, or he said this, and, people get crazy when they're, in love or head over heels, or they're just crazy people and they do stuff like this. So it's nuts. And it's basically just sort of reminds me of the Salt and Pepper song, mind your own business, stay out of everybody else's shit, and just do your own thing and don't talk about anybody else. So I think this is a really cool song. I like it. I feel like this is something that a lot, if not most people can relate to.
That's fair. So in verse 2, like you said, it's a bit more about the violence in the situation and how running your mouth is just going to lead to it. So these two people did this, they get killed, somebody dies, we got to come get it. A revenge situation plays out. Then that this kid's
really
talking about having his
nothing.
gun, and it just keeps escalating to the point where the kid kills your friend.
Yeah.
Shoots him in the head.
Is it worth it? No.
Rest in peace, Chief, because it's something you said. Because you were talking shit that one day. This motherfucker ended up dying and whatnot. Yeah. Tell it to his family on his funeral day, and your man is a victim, and he say, she say. Honestly, all just was about talk and whatnot. And the third verse is about people who basically don't think that A.G and Showbiz can rap proper. So they respond to that. And, rumors about them. Hey, I heard Showbiz is making money out the cracks, and he doesn't have to, Jack, because he's making fat tracks. And it was like, the severity of these things have changed drastically from, like, man's relationship getting ruined, dude dying, people talking some shade about Showbiz and A.G.
Well,
and
yeah.
I believe that the goal of that last verse is to say, when you talk, these bad things can happen, so don't talk shit about us, because it's just as bad as those things. It's not. But, like, I get your point.
Well, like, maybe somebody was talking about
allow me to
them
take it
stuff,
back.
and, like, record
If
labels
you're
were
saying,
like, oh, is maybe,
no, I'm
like,
going to take it back. Because if you are saying shit, making stuff up about drugs and
you could
whatever,
ruin your career.
you're right. Especially in the Twitter democracy of 2019, where a tweet from 10 years ago can get you fired. Literally, that's the he say, she say.
Crazy.
I totally get the point. I said something silly just now, comment people. I corrected myself. Anyway, I really appreciated this song. I thought it was quite brilliant. And if it didn't have that shitty intro, I would have given it a 5. So it gets a 4.75 because I don't like the intro.
Okay. Well, let's represent.
Represent? You didn't say it cool.
Collect, but them chumps is like Ray Charles, cause they ain't seen no money yet. Trash rappers like Saxon.
I normally could not care less about posse cuts in general because it's like a bunch of names. Like, who the fuck are all these people? But then Big L, Deshaun, and Lord Finesse show up, and I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I do care about these people. Let's do it. And it is what it is, man. Big L rips it. He's just fucking fantastic. I mean, I really like Big L. I forgot how much I liked Lifestyles of the Poor and the Dangerous until we listened to all this Big L recently. I just fucking ridiculous, man. Like, trash rappers at Tax and Spark. I'd be wetting up like water rides in Action Park. Struck me and that ain't funny, son. So I get money done. They wet him in his honey bun. Cause funny faggots, I froze. It's a fact. I flip fast on foes with fabulous, fantastic flows. Alliteration. But like, look, I can't even do it justice. Big L, he could say like, I flipped the yellow pages and I called up a person and I ordered a pizza, and it would still sound that gangsta because of his fucking delivery and his intensity and all of that shit. So Big L can literally say whatever the fuck he wants.
Yep.
Including shit like Coast to Coast shows I host, foes I roast, adios, I'm ghost. It's so good. Big L's, I mean, you guys get it. You guys know how good Big L is.
Yeah.
Verse 2 has Deshaun coming in, and he's fucking flowing proverbs. And I with a machete, I'm a crazy Edward Scissorhands, born with such a thirst to kill, I can tap 200 quarters from a $50 bill. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Like, first of all, can you picture Edward Scissorhands with a bunch of machetes slicing motherfuckers up? Because that's what I'm picturing now. And then somehow taking a $50 bill and turning it into the exact number of quarters necessarily to get $50? That's game. That is laundry money for such a significant period of time that it's actually a practical and useful skill for life. Because let's be real, when you can't find the change machine, it's fucking annoying. First world problems when you're like in middle class Canada.
I think it's lower class too.
Anyway, yeah, I suppose everyone struggles with laundry machines, except for rich people who have washing machines in their house, I guess.
They have people to do them.
Or like chopping MCs like trees piece by piece, building cabins. I'm a maniac magician, abracadabra. I like it. It's just Deshaun sounds so fucking cool, and it's really enjoyable to listen to. Lord Finesse comes in proper, does what he's got to do. Super enjoyable too. And it's like we're talking like, they all sound so good in 92 that it's like, now I have to go listen to more of all of these dudes' shits, you know? I make papes off of shit I create, then dictate, so get your motherfucking shit straight. I got skills, I'm hard to kill, so y'all bitch-ass rappers better chill and just guard your grill. Y'all grab a mic and always getting hyped, talking about fucking up, but you can barely beat your dick right.
Ooh.
Oof, Lord Finesse, that's stop riding my dills, Nick. As I can still kick on the ill shit, that motherfucking real tip. I rhymed all that on purpose because that's just sick shit. It's really good to listen to. And we haven't even gotten to AG or Showbiz yet. AG comes in, he's completely proper. Hoes get no dough, so I try. You think it's gonna be a hit and run? Wrong. It's a drive-by. Catching tantrum because your girl's never safe around the midnight phantom. They predicted I'm a fail. They must be down with Michael Jackson because the shit's off the wall. You don't believe me? Ask the brother show. Snatching hotties, grabbing hotties, letting motherfuckers know. That's camaraderie. That's beautiful shit right there. This song is just well rhymed. It's really enjoyable to listen to. Great beat. I mean, I'm the calm one, but my crew is sort of sick. It's a great track, man. It's a 4.5 on 5. It's super great to listen to, and I'm gonna say it is the last song on the album. We can talk about that on the next one.
Yeah, so it's got all these great features on this one, and like right away when you first like start listening to it, I was, for me at least, I mean I listened to it several times, but at the very beginning, the first time I heard it, I was like, I love this song. This is great. It's very funky. It's got a weird beat change, but it's still like super cool. Big L, obviously, great, fabulous as usual. I pack a gat and not a slingshot. Step to this and get an ass whooping like Rodney King got. Again, another super relevant track, and I think that it is also saying like he's like they, you know, they, he, whatever. Like he's just trying not to be. I think it's sort of like the David and the Goliath situation. That's why he's saying, he's like, I don't have a slingshot. I have a more violent, like, you know, effective tool, I guess, at least for him. And like he's going against like the government and the police and like, you know, like these big sort of like Goliath type people that just seems like impossible to like knock them down. And I think that's kind of what he's saying, that he's going to like get them. He's going to do what he has to do to like elevate, like, I guess black people at this time who are like really like, I don't know, unfortunate. Like they were basically being attacked and, you know, still are, which is just awful. That's kind of that. Then we have like Deshaun, and I don't know if we've ever come across him before. I feel like I've heard the name, but I'm not 100% sure. But he's not bad. I liked him.
He was good.
Yeah. He will kill you. He's very violent. He's a street maniac. He
like he
himself.
was raised by psycho crazed lumberjacks.
Right? Who wants that? Deshaun. So he's just a little bit crazy. And then we obviously have Finesse comes on, and he's like a bit like smoother and nicer. And you know, again, great. I like the crinkly sound that's kind of like featured on this one. I always enjoy that. And obviously this is just sort of like a, you know, like a crew song. It's got your whole squad and just kind of like how like badass and hype and how like tough they are and how they're just representing. And they are New Yorkers. They all come from like the Bronx and the Queens, or not the Queens, just Queens. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really cool beat, faux show, and I liked it. I gave it a 4.4.
All right, so why don't we talk about Silence of the Lambs, the original one?
Yes.
Finally got us props. We can box rhyme for knots. So see who got the biggest clocks. It don't matter cause
So, like I said, when we got to the other Silence of the Lambs, I had a theory, at least. Everything from this point on is off their EP. Like, it's all off of the other album they put out, the Soul Clap EP. Because if you check that track list, it's basically every one of the songs that's left on this project. And you'll notice it, like, there's a quality dip. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean, like, you can hear a distinct change in the overall feel of everything as of...
A similar vibe, but yeah, not as good.
I feel like this, Lindell, is a time where the remix totally fucking enhanced the song. Like, I like this. Maybe it's because I heard the remix first, but I really feel like the remix is a thicker, richer, doper fucking beat. This is kind of a maybe groovier, bassier feel, but otherwise it's just whatever. It's the same song. It is just a different beat. So I gave it a 4.25 because it's basically the same thing, a little bit less good. And I'm so confused by this move. Like, why is basically... There's one song on the EP that's not on this, but, like, the rest of them are just here. And is that a thing people did? Like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this particular move done by people before. So, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, this is basically just... They're great rappers. They're going to destroy you. It sounds kind of good. But like at this point, like I feel like they should have just ended the album because it does kind of start to drag, at least for me, a little bit. But it's still like highly enjoyable, super good. And I very much enjoyed the flute that was featured on this one. Like there's so many great instruments. Like each song, or maybe like every second song or so, gets like a unique instrument. Like there's been like a saxophone featured on one, and then there's been like the cello or the bass that's featured on another, and now we have like the piccolo or the flute or whatever the heck it is. Like it's so good.
Oh, I was wrong. The Silence of the Lambs isn't on the EP. So then what the hell is there two versions of this song doing on the album? I thought it was on the EP. I really did. Sorry for cutting you off. I just had to correct myself. What the hell? Why? Anyway. And why is the remix first?
Keep you on your toes.
I'm so confused by this.
Because sometimes life is just not predictable.
But like,
it just doesn't turn out the way you hope it will.
I've just never...
Things happen in the wrong way, but they still end up getting you to the right place.
Still, can somebody answer that one for me? That would be really dope. Thank you. DJ Black Hurricane, I'm looking at you. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Anyways, I just thought it was good. I gave this a 4.25. I think that was it.
All right. So now let's definitely go to one that's 100% off the EP.
Party Groove.
The bass mix.
It ain't nothing but a party, y'all. It ain't nothing but a party, y'all.
Well, they don't understand the ignorance.
The ignorance.
Which makes sense because you can't really, if you're ignorant and there's ignorance, you can't really, if you're understanding, you can't really, the two words just don't go together. That was a terrible sentence on my part, but like the idea is incompatible. Understanding ignorance is just fucking impossible. Anyway, this is like a B-side compared to the other one to me. Like it's just like we went from all that serious shit and then we went right back into the party, like just for the rest of the album. Like, and it's the party groove. It's the groove of the party. So girls, fix your weave and come shake your body. I'm like, okay, if you can't afford Moet, then drink Bacardi. I'm like, okay, these are really simple, not like seriously intense of anything. But like, it's also not like bad or anything.
It's a party song. That's what it is.
You know, I crew, hold they head, no beef and don't riff, cause gangsta images show can't get with. You know, like you just, I want to be proper. On the second verse, you know, rap and roll, mix and mingle, doobie cuts, big butts, yeah, but only if you're single. He's not down with OPP. Yeah, you don't know me. Now it's time for us to jingle. The gift is if my name was Chris Kango. Like it's all good, except that I'm just so like, okay, it's fun, it's nice. I just gave this a 4.15. Like the beat is really great. The beat just vibes. The rhymes are, like if you were to say, Holden, you're gonna be reviewing a 1992 album. That's this party groove, that's my expectations for this project, to which were subverted for the rest of the project.
Yeah.
But then this came on and I'm like, okay, it's a fun little vapid one, are the full extent of my notes.
Yep. So this one is like, you know, a little bit rapidy rap on this one, I think. But I mean, for me, like this one just stands out as like a dance song. Like I could definitely see some like stellar dance moves happening to this. Like it's kind of what it is. And it sounded a little like 80s influenced and maybe even a little bit Beastie Boys influenced, which is fine because I mean that's where they're from. And so like it's cool that you're like featuring kind of like the sound and like something about it obviously like triggered me to think of the Beastie Boys. So I think that that's kind of cool that they're able to like incorporate that into like their music and kind of like refer back to like, you know, the people who started it all for them. I mean, it's nice. I mean, again, I wrote nothing substantial, but it works. I mean, that's what it is. So I give it a 4 on 5.
Yeah, we're not at the best part of the album in my opinion. That's
Let's
okay.
check out the soul clap.
All right.
Can I get a soul clap? Come on. I love hip hop. Now,
Just so y'all know, because I don't know if you did, Diamond D dropped a project May 10th called the D.I.T.C 2, and I think we're going to review it next week on Headspace. I just wanted y'all to know that because Soul Clap has as much interest for me as the previous one lyrically and stuff. It is I don't know, what do you think about it?
It's sort of a song to clap your hands to, and that's kind of what, you know, what he's saying it is. And this one I think is obviously made for like the street corner. It's cool. It's sort of just made for like freestyling to beatbox and for people to like move and dance to. I mean, that's essentially what it is. So it makes me think of like the street corner when there's like a crowd gathered around and everyone's kind of like, making the sound for like the dancers who are kind of dancing in the middle and they're switching it out, like, and I think that that's like really cool. Or like if you're at like a club or something like that, or like a dance, or I don't know, wherever. And then the same sort of situation. Like everyone's kind of gathered around. People are taking their turns dancing or like, battling it out or whatever. And I think that that's kind of, it's cool. It kind of brings people together. So I like that. It's sort of just another party song. And it's sort of like they've curated music for like different times in your life. It's like we had, like the fun stuff, and then we had like the hard stuff, and then kind of a little bit more emotional stuff, and now here's some party stuff.
I feel like these are just like, these were the best songs that you liked about us on the last project.
Yeah.
So here you go. You get them again.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was good. Like, there's not really anything bad to say about it. It just wasn't like the best. So I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
This one has better rhyming though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on the lyrical tip. For you to whip the giant, that'll be a miracle whip.
Like, there's something
We're
about
stretching
this.
a little bit there for that being a good line. But
There's
it
something
did
about
make me
this that
smile a
makes
little
it
bit.
sound like hip hop. Like, it sounds like true hip hop, like where it's from.
Even as an underdog, our wonders, yeah, I'll step up and get it. You try to get fat, so my stats will say forget it. Yeah, I'm rapping, and that's what's happening. Cuties with booties is one thing. I'm actually liking. You can see me come and hold your breath and hold your wifey. Like, it's just, it flows really well, and it's like a lot of, like, it's like it's checking the boxes for, like, kind of what it's supposed to be. And I'm not trying to be, again, I feel like I'm being disrespectful considering how fucking good the last shit was we were just talking about. And, like, we've moved on to something completely different. I love hip-hop, fuck rock and roll. Come on, bro, rock and roll's dope. To me. Yeah, I'm a giant and I got lots of soul. You also have a big dick, apparently. I've been a giant ever since I was a little fellow. Here at Oohs and Ahs, rocking a cappella with the Beat Brothers. Couldn't even understand. I'm a giant, but still I was a young man. Like, I'm fine with this. It's just, it's okay. It's just not my favorite lyrically. But on the other hand, listening to it without caring about the lyrics, just putting that beat on and letting it play, just like flowing to it, it is such a good song to clap to. It is such a good vibe to listen to. It's just definitely stuff that came before this album. Anyway, I get this one a 4.25. I feel like this one at least like is better than the last one, but still I'm a little bit like, I felt like disappointed a little bit at this point because I feel like it's such a tangible quality dip in terms of at least fitting on this project. Like, what does this song have to do with anything? I don't know.
It's fun music,
I guess, but like, I feel like this album had a concept up until it didn't. And that's kind of like, ah. Anyway, the next one, I guess, will continue as we are catching wreck.
Not a neck check, catching wreck, yo. That's the subject. A break a leg, yo.
All right, Bonnie, how do you feel about this one?
They wreck it on the microphone. I mean, there's really not too much like, outstanding lyrically to like talk about on this one for me. Again, nice instruments featured on this one, like a piccolo again, and they have like an electric piano, and I think that that's like, I don't know, it always sounds really cool. So definitely like their beat maker is like really cool, and they'll make
Showbiz.
Yeah. He does all the beats, all of them.
I'm pretty sure he's the beat guy. I might be wrong.
I thought it was Diamond D that was doing that.
They shout out Diamond D as the guy who makes beats all the time, but if you look at the thing, it looks like it was all produced by Show. I mean, I might be wrong.
Very cool.
Yeah, go on.
But yeah. So I mean, like I said, there's not too much else to talk about. Like, they'll make you hurt your neck, maybe from like nodding too much, or like that you're gonna like be like craning your neck to like look at them or something. Like, I'm not really sure like what it was exactly it's going to hurt your neck, but you're going to hurt your neck. It sounds groovy. It's a nice song. It was good. I give it a 4 on 5.
So according to Wikipedia, it says all tracks produced by Showbiz except 8 and 14, So Hard to Kill and Soul Clap, which were co-produced by Diamond D.
Okay.
Yeah, I was under the impression that Showbiz was the beats guy and A.G was the rapper guy. And then I saw Showbiz raps a lot on this project. And then I got it like, oh, he's a rapper too? And then Wikipedia also said that was kind of something that died off and A.G took over the bulk of the rapping later on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just fine. Like, there's just not a lot going, like, there's just not a lot of interesting and next level on this part. Like, on my records you hear me kick a verse, but I never sound worse in person. Matter of fact, I only get better and better and better and never ever change with the weather. He does get way better. I'll give him so fucking credit for that. Now you step to AG, you get your ass kicked, a few stitches, a cast or a casket. I'm the calm one, but my crew is sort of sick. I'm low key, but my pockets stay thick like a shake or thick like a... It's just what it is. It's not like this. I'm far from getting booed. I never met the Sandman. The Pointers is my sister, so yes, we can. And act like a choir and clap with our hands or give a soul clap. That's my jam and demand, because, you know, they wrote soul clap. Like, I mean, I know I'm coming off like it might not be the most positive, but, like, I know it's okay. It's just another song about them being flossy, and I don't really like it quite as much as I enjoyed the dense shit that we came from previous in this album. Like I said, the last three, and I wonder if I had just heard these songs in a completely different vibe, if I might feel like completely different about them. But it's just like, okay. The pretty one, sorry, but when it comes to hitting skins, you know I'm all for it. The pretty ones, the big titty ones, the cuties with the booties, not the itty bitty ones. I line them up and knock them down like bowling pins. If I don't have a ride, then I use my black Tims. Well, he'll walk to get the pussy. Anyway, I do think it's an enjoyable song. I just think that, like, for this album, I'm like, okay, now it's just weird. I've said that a few times now, but that's fine. I gave this track a 4.25 on 5. It is fine. But guess what, guys? We are not done yet, because...
Party groove.
Instrumental. So to be clear, I may have found the corniness of the lyrics and my disinterest in that to be a thing on Catching Wreck, but the overall beat work and production and sound is still it's enjoyable to listen to. It's not enjoyable to think about. That's the way for me to put it. But Party Groove Instrumental is just the instrumental, and I really like listening to just the instrumental. It took away all the stuff to think about and left me with just the instrumental. I don't really know what else to say. 4.5 on 5.
Yep. Like, I like this one. This is like something that you can 100% like visually, like, in my mind, like there is like a beatboxing, like break dancing, like competition that's happening in my mind right now. And I think that I love that. I think that's so much fun. Like, I can literally, like, if I could, I would imitate the moves that I can see that would go along with this song. Anyways, so it's like they're really just kind of like representing their home and like they're the roots of hip hop and like the street corner like vibe and feeling that that they want to like bring back, and maybe like something different from what's currently going on. And when I say currently, I mean 1992, to like what's going on the street corners at that time. Like, you know, it's maybe very violent and drug influenced and criminal activity happening on the street corners. So maybe they want to make this to kind of bring people back to an enjoyable, nice time where people aren't getting shot at and, you know, shooting up drugs. So it's a different situation, and I think it's a better one for like kids to grow up in, you know, seeing, you know, their culture, dancing, and their sound. I think that's, you know, obviously better. So I think that this is sort of like an instrumental track to kind of bring people together in a positive way. That's kind of what I got out of it, at least. So I give it a 4.5. I like it.
Fair enough. All right, so that's the end of the album. The Runaway Slave review. I like this project a lot. Like, I gave the whole project a 4.43. But if you cut off everything after Represent, it's a 4.504. I think that if you cut off everything after Represent, this shit's a motherfucking classic. It's like a conceptual album that kind of walks you through a mindset of like the environment, the possible ways to escape the environment, the implications of the negative lifestyles, leading to a bless-ass posse cut that everybody cares about. Well, by everybody, I mean me. And it was amazing. Then there's the original version that's less good than the remix, plus 3 tracks, plus an instrumental. And at that point, I'm like, okay, that's a weird twist on the album. But, like, all of my complaining aside, it's objectively, Showbiz is a star. Like, his B work is just that good.
Yeah.
That, like, even if the rhyming's whatever, the flows are never bad. Listening to the rhyming is never bad. It's just sometimes you go from, like, deep, like, mind-breaking levels of crazy writing, like that craft line. It's so good. But then on the other hand, you have, like, I'm the best on the mic. But everybody says that. You know, like, you know, it just... Anyway, I really love this album. I really do. I think it's worth hearing. I think it's like a good notch for the hip hop scholar card.
Yeah. I really like this one. I give this a 4.42 on 5, so it's an 88%. So I mean, it's already close to like, you know, whatever your standards are for a classic, but for me it is a classic. Overall, I found this to be pretty fantastic. I loved it. It's fun, it's easy and enjoyable, and yet it still has like something to leave you thinking and questioning and feeling, I guess. So like in my mind, like I see this as like a great album, an entire album to listen to when you're having like some friends over and you need some background music, but you know, it's because it's jazzy enough to kind of like have that kind of sound that's like, you know, background music, but still like fun and hype enough, and for like those that like want to like maybe like sing along or like be like, oh, what is that you're listening to? Like, what are we listening to in the background? Like, this would be really cool. I think like sort of ambience music, I guess. But like it's still gonna like make people move a little bit. So I would definitely recommend this for anybody. Period. Enjoyable for all. So thank you very much, Lindell, for exposing us to this beautiful album.
Appreciate it, Lindell. And thank y'all for watching, because y'all the real MVPs, not Big L. It's you, okay? So y'all are really
You too,
dope.
Lindell.
I said Big L.
Oh, I think you said Lindell.
Big L's the MVP, right? Like, anyway.
Right,
and
my
he
bad.
was on this anyway.
Either way.
So thank y'all for watching. It totally means the world that you would do it, and that's really cool. Like, it's still weird to me that people would click and watch this video. So that's awesome, and I look forward to seeing what y'all have to say in the comments. Anything you want to say, constructive, negative, positive, I don't know, whatever you want to say is totally cool in the comments, unless it's like really random, like when Label Executive try to timestamp the videos for when we use samples. Those I'll delete. Everything else we'll talk about, and it's really fun. But on the other hand, special thanks to the patrons: Lindell Williams, DJ Black Hurricanes, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, and Jonathan Barnes. Y'all support what we do. It's totally fucking dope. They helped us get a new camera. They get to tell us albums to review, like this week with Lindell telling us what album to review. It was very nice of you, Lindell. And yeah, they're just helping us grow. And otherwise, if you're not really down for the Patreon life, you can hit that subscribe button. It's just a click, and you can hit the like button. It's a second click, and then you could do some clickety clackities or tippity tappities and leave a comment, and that would be fucking dope too. So I look forward to hearing from you. I dropped a project recently. I make music. You can check it out on this channel: Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever. You can find links to that shit down below in the description. And on that note, it's Monday night, past the time we should be recording in our little apartment. So have yourselves a wonderful freaking day.
Yep. Bye, guys.